Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Magnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svaparantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapatakalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ribol, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Okay, Haribol. So today we are gonna start the chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. Arjuna Vacha, Kim Tad Brahma, Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Karma Purushottama, Adibhutam Cha Kim Proktam, Adidaivam Kim Uchate. Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna said, Kim, what? Tat, that. Brahma, Brahman, Kim, what? Adhyatmam, the self, Kim, what? Karma, fruitive activities, Purushottama, supreme person, Adibhutam, the material manifestation, Cha and Kim, what? Proktam is called, Adidaivam, the demigods, Kim, what? Uchyate is called. Translation. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is the material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. So even Arjuna asked, what are the demigods? In this chapter, Lord Krishna answers, purported by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this chapter, Lord Krishna answers these different questions of Arjuna, beginning with what is Brahman. The Lord also explains karma, fruitive activities, devotional service, and yoga principles and devotional service in its pure form. The Srimad Bhagavatam explains that the Supreme Absolute Truth is known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. In addition, the living entity, individual soul, is also called Brahman. Arjuna also inquires about Atma, which refers to body, soul, and mind. According to the Vedic dictionary, Atma refers to the mind, soul, body, and senses also. Arjuna has addressed the Supreme Lord as Purushottama, Supreme Person, which means that he was putting these questions not simply to a friend, but to the Supreme Person, knowing him to be the supreme authority able to give definitive answers. Hare Krishna, Rahul Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Okay, text number 2.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam Prabhu, Jai Shri Prabhu.
Thank you for joining, Prabhu. Adiyagna katam kotra dehismin madhusudana prayana kalecha katam.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the session. I can read today.
Haribol, yes, Prabhu. Okay. I think your connection is coming like 10 seconds late. Synonyms. Word to word. You can read the next verse, Prabhu. Adiyagna, the Lord of sacrifice. Katam, how? Kaha, who? Atra, here. Dehe, in the body. Asmin, in this. Madhusudana, O Madhusudana. Prayana kale, at the time of death. Cha, and Katam, how? Gyenaha, be known. Asi, you can. Niyata, Atma, be, by the self-control. Translation. How does this Lord of sacrifice live in the body, and in which part does he live, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? Purport. The Lord of Sacrifice accepts Indra and Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigods, including Brahma and Shiva, and Indra is the chief of the administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yagna performances. But here Arjuna asks, who is actually the Lord of Yagna, sacrifice, and how is the Lord residing within the body of the living entity? Arjuna addresses the Lord as Madhusudana because Krishna once killed a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are of the nature of doubts, should not have arisen in the mind of Arjuna because Arjuna is a Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is so expert in killing demons, Arjuna here addresses him as Madhusudana so that Krishna might kill the demonic doubts that rises in Arjuna's mind. Now the word prayana kale in this verse is very significant because whatever we do in life will be tested at the time of death. Arjuna fears that at the time of death, those who are in Krishna consciousness will forget the Supreme Lord because at such a time body functions are disrupted and the mind may be in a panic-stricken state. Therefore, Maharaj Kulashekara, a great devotee, prays, my dear Lord, may I die immediately now that I'm healthy so that the swan of my mind may enter into the stem of thy lotus feet. This metaphor is used because the swan often takes pleasure in entering the stem of the lotus flower. Similarly, the mind of the pure devotee is drawn to the lotus feet of the Lord. Maharaj Kulasekara fears that at the moment of death his throat will be so choked up that he will not be able to chant the holy names, so it is better to die immediately. Arjuna questions how one's mind can remain fixed on Krishna's lotus feet at such times. Okay, Haribol, Rahul Prabhu, you can read the next one.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Adhyatmatam Uchyate Bhuta Bhavo Bhavakaro Visarga Karma Samyata. Synonyms. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Aksharam indestructible, Brahma Brahman, Paramam transcendental, Swabhava eternal nature, Adhyatmam the self, Uchate is called Bhuta Bhava, Udbhavakara, action producing the material bodies of the living entities, Visarga, creation, Karma, fruitive activities, Samgrita is called translation. The Supreme Lord said, the indestructible, the transcendental living entity is called Brahma, and his eternal nature is called the Self. Action pertaining to the development of these material bodies is called karma or fruitive activities. Purport. Brahman is indestructible any time, but beyond Brahman there is Parabrahma. Brahman refers to the living entity and Parabrahman refers to the supreme. I'm sorry. Personality of Godhead. The constitutional position of the living entity is different from the position he takes in the material world. In material consciousness, his nature is to try to be the lord of matter, but in spiritual Krishna consciousness, his position is to serve the Supreme. When the living entity is in material consciousness, he has to take on various bodies in the material world. That is called karma or varied creation by the force of material consciousness. In Vedic literature, the living entity is called Jivatma and Brahman, but he is never called Para Brahman. The living entity Jivatma takes different positions, sometimes emerges into the dark material nature and identifies himself with matter, and sometimes he identifies himself with the superior spiritual nature. Therefore, he is called Supreme Lord's marginal energy. According to his identification with material or spiritual nature, he receives a material or spiritual body. In material nature, he may take a body from any of the 8.4 million species of life, but in spiritual nature, he has only one body. In material nature, he is sometimes manifested as a man, demigod, an animal, a bird, a beast, bird, etc., according to his karma. To attain material heavenly planets and enjoy their facilities, he sometimes performs sacrifices, yajna, but when his merit is exhausted, he returns to earth again in the form of a man. In the process of sacrifice, the living entity makes specific sacrifices to attain specific heavenly planets and consequently reaches them. When the merit of sacrifice is exhausted, then the living entity descends to earth in the form of rain, then takes on the form of grains, and the grains are eaten by man and transformed into semen, which impregnates a woman, and thus the living entity once again attains the human form to perform sacrifice and so repeat the same cycle. In this way, the living entity perpetually comes and goes on the material path. The Krishna conscious person, however, avoids such sacrifices. He takes directly to Krishna consciousness and thereby prepares himself to return to Godhead. Impersonalist commentators on the Gita unreasonably assume that Brahman takes the form of Jiva in the material world, and to substantiate this, they refer to chapter 15, verse 7 of the Gita. But this verse also speaks of the living entity as an eternal fragment of myself. The fragment of God, the living entity, may fall down into the material world, but as the Supreme Lord, Achyuta, never falls down. But the Supreme Lord Achyuta never falls down. Therefore, this assumption that the Supreme Brahman assumes the form of Jiva is not acceptable. It is important to remember that in Vedic literature, Brahman, the living entity, is distinguished from the Para Brahman, the Supreme Lord. Text 4. Adhi Bhutam Sharo Bhava Purushascha Devatam Adiyagno aham evatra dehe deha bhritam vara. Synonyms. Adi bhutam, the physical manifestation, shara, constantly changing, bhava, nature, purusha, the universal form, cha, and adi devatam, including all demigods like the sun the and moon. Adi Agnya, the super soul, Aham, I, Krishna, Eva, certainly, Atra, in this Deha body, Deha Bhritam, of the embodied, Vara, the supreme. Translation. Physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable. The universe is the cosmic form of the Supreme Lord, and I am that Lord represented as the supersoul dwelling in the heart of every embodied being. Um, Purport. The physical nature is constantly changing. Material bodies generally pass through six stages. Are born, they grow, uh, they remain for some duration, they produce some byproducts, they dwindle, and then they vanish. The physical nature is called Adi Bhutam because it is created at a certain point and will be annihilated at a certain point. The conception of the universal form of the Supreme Lord that includes all the demigods and their different planets is called Adi Devatam. The individual soul Jiva accompanies the body. Um, the Supersoul, a plenary representation of Lord Krishna, is called the Paramatma or Adi Yagya and is situated in the heart. The word Eva is particularly important in the context of this verse because by this word the Lord stresses that the Paramatma is not different from him. The Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, seated beside the individual soul is the witness of the individual soul's activities and is the source of consciousness. The super soul gives the jiva an opportunity to act freely and he witnesses his activities. The functions of all these different manifestations of the Supreme Lord automatically become clarified for the pure Krishna conscious devotee engaged in transcendental service of the Lord. The gigantic universal form of the Lord, called Adi Devatam, is contemplated by the neophyte who cannot approach the Supreme Lord in his manifestation as Supersoul. The neophyte is advised to contemplate the universal form whose legs are considered the lowest planets and whose eyes are considered the sun and moon and whose head is considered the upper planetary system.
Okay, Haribo, thank you.
Text for Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
We have
I
Krishna
can
Prabhu's blessing.
continue.
Oh, Hare Krishna,
Praise to Srila Prabhupada.
from Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, can I read one and because I'm going to leave soon?
Sure.
Yes, Prabhu, but let's see, because there is Vishwambar Prabhu's lecture going, and I didn't know, and that's why we started.
Oh, so I want to exit because yeah, remember there's a lecture today. Because I was also shocked, like how could they be reading session at the same time
Yes,
as Vishwamba's Prabhu?
I didn't know. Vivek Prabhu just messaged me and asked about this.
Oh yes. Is it look at the sloka Prabhu, is it a long or short one? If it's long, we can postpone it. If it's short, we can do it fast.
Short one, Prabhu.
Sorry?
It's short one, Prabhu. You can read it.
Okay. Prabhu Antekale, isn't it like at the end of time? Yeah? Or is it like death, maybe?
End of
Yeah,
life.
the end of life. Yeah, okay. Antekale chamam eva smaran mukta kalevaram yaha prayati sa mad bhavam yatinasti atra samasaya. Usually I like challenging my, oh Prabhu, I'm done with the Bhagavad Gita. Today was my last chapter. Finished it.
Now you can restart.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Now you can restart, Prabhu. Haribo.
Why restart, Prabhu?
Let's read it
I'll
100.
explain that. I want to read a different book and then I'll come back to it.
Yes, Prabhu.
Ante kale at the end of life, cha also, mam unto me, ever certainly smarana, remembering, muktva quitting, kalevaram the body, yaha, he who prayati goes, saha he madbhavam my nature, yati achieves, na not asti there is, atra here, samsaya doubt. Translation, and whoever at the time of death quits his body, oh, quit his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this, there is no doubt. Is this chapter 9, Prabhu, or is it 7, 8?
8, Prabhu, 8.
Okay.
Haribo.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In
Right.
this verse, the importance of Krishna consciousness is stressed Anyone who quits his body in Krishna consciousness is at once transferred to the transcendental abode of the Supreme Lord. The word smaran, remembering, is important. Remembrance of Krishna is not possible for the impure soul who has not practiced Krishna consciousness in devotional service. To remember Krishna, one should chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Instantly following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, being more tolerant than the tree, humbler than the grass, and offering all respects to others without requiring respect in return. In such a way, one will be able to depart from the body, successfully remembering Krishna, and so attain the supreme goal. Aribu.
Prabhu, very nice, Prabhu.
Prabhu, you see how Vishvamba Prabhu teaches?
Yes, Prabhu.
I wish His Grace Sundar Gopal would do something like that. Like instead of us asking question, he would put a lecture.
Then the so-called Prabhu, he doesn't do those like he doesn't do computer like editing.
No, not like that, Prabhu. Not the editing, like with Shastra only.
It's all like PowerPoint.
Yeah. Even if it's not a PowerPoint, Prabhu, like you see, like he must just come in and talk. Let him do the talking, and we do the listening.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah,
so
just
we
like
have
that, and then like normally quoting, just like what he does on YouTube. Have you seen how he preaches on YouTube?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, just like that. Maybe have like let's say a second devotee to help him with the, I don't know, with the computer for the Shastra.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, he does not need to, what do you call this? He does not need to modify, and do all that because devotees go all out. Like Vishvamba Prabhu, I've seen the way he collects a lot of pictures actually.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
With quotes. Yes, Prabhu.
Now I pause the recording for a short time. So everyone please join the Vishwambar Prabhu's lecture if possible.
Let me check.
Then we can read few more verses.
Sorry, Prabhu.
After it ends, then we can read few more verses.
So you're not closing it. I'm gonna need to exit.
Yes, Prabhu. They don't work anything. Thank you so much for association. Haribol, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Told you at the beginning, we are.
Where's everyone today? Are they in the lecture?
Not that we are human being in spiritualism. Everybody thinking no, Prabhu. That we are human only Vivek Prabhu is there. Wrong.
What? Let me just join and see.
That's the problem.
Haribo. What about Pranjal Prabhu?
He's here. He's cake. Yes, spiritual entity.
Oh, usually I know him. He usually joins.
Yes, Prabhu. Even Sundar Gopal Prabhu asked, who is this cake?
Announce everything. Where was I?
The cake has arrived. Who is this cake? Reading all the things. Now cake is asking questions.
Oh.
It was so.
Imagine cake.
Baba and all. They have no knowledge. Their knowledge is ganja, smoking ganja. I don't know. They're bored. They cannot do anything.
I remember my past life.
Everything. That is not renunciation. Renunciation or perfect knowledge. The Mayavadis, their knowledge, they are telling Neti,
Yeah, I sent the link
Maya,
in the
Maya,
chat.
everything Maya, let me renounce Maya.
Oh, yes.
So therefore, they do not touch any material activity. They are telling Neti, everything is Brahman. They are real renounce. This nowadays, nobody is like this. Sankaracharya's disciples are like this. They are Mayavadi, very intelligent, perfect in knowledge, but mental speculator. They will not do any work. Shankaracharya will not accept any disciple if he is not renounced. Therefore, they fall down. They cannot be inactive in that inaction in knowledge. Simply meditating, oh, everything is Brahman, I don't want no activities, nothing. They fall down to material activities. Because their understanding is very, very not complete. Their understanding is not complete. It is stated in the beautiful verses, Ya Aravindaka Vimukta Manina, Avisuddha Buddhaya.
because they do not engage in the service of Krishna, they fall down. So therefore, Krishna said dry renunciation is too difficult also and distressful. Nobody can do all the very, very difficult. One who knows the position reached by means of analytical study can also attain by devotional service. Who therefore sees analytical study, devotional service with the same level, think they are. Merely renouncing all the activity yet not engaging in devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can access
Terrible, soon we return.
Supreme without delay.
Prabhu,
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
One.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Automatically bad.
Nobody has joined, is it?
We have a pause, Prabhu. We were reading with Lebang Prabhu, Pranjal Prabhu, Lebang Prabhu and Pranjal Prabhu and Rahul Prabhu, but we had a pause because Vishwambar Prabhu's lecture is going on.
So here,
No, but that's okay. We can still continue the reading session, right? What's the difficulty?
Vivek Prabhu said Vishwambar Prabhu's lecture is going on, that we should join that.
That's see, Prabhu. The point is that some devotees may be able to join. Some devotees want to join the reading session. So even if senior devotee classes are going on, as long as it's not the Friday Q&A and the Ishta Goshti, you can still have a reading session every day.
Yes, Prabhu.
You know, those who want to join Vishwambar Prabhu's class, okay, they can do no problem. Otherwise, those who want to stay in the reading session, they can join the reading session. There's no difficulty, no?
and senses is dear
Yes,
to
Prabhu,
everyone.
okay.
Everyone is
I said we will continue
no
after it
everyone
ends.
such a man is never entangled. So
Anyway, no problem.
how to perform the karma yoga or what devotion? One who work in devotion is a pure soul who control the mind and senses dear to everyone.
Prabhu, take care. Huh? I'll join you tomorrow when you have the reading session. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for your session. Jai Shri
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, Prabhu.
just like terrorists. This terrorist killed, but a soldier is killing so many enemies. There's a difference.